Hi, hello. I don't have an intro because I am new to the long form scene. I thought that I should probably do some long form because obviously one, the idea that I could maybe make money off of it sometime in the future is very appealing. But two, I already tell everybody about this kind of stuff anyways. I am a chronic yapper. I will tell anybody that will listen, so have a video out there so anybody can listen. Yeah, I'm gonna be really bad at this because this is my first time. I definitely go by that thing where it's like the first time you do something it's always gonna be bad, so I might as well just make it and have it be bad than not make it ever. Oh boy, okay. Well, let's just get started. I'm going to be talking about my OC story setting from 2020, 2019. It's called Dreams and Nightmares. Most of the world stuff that we're going to be talking about today has carried over throughout all those years, with not a lot of change to it. The characters have definitely had quite a bit of change, a lot design-wise. Maybe not as much writing-wise, but the sort of concept of it is that it's a bunch of different tropes and genres that basically come from different worlds, which are the genres. They're represented by different dimensions, but all of them sort of converge into this main setting. So I get to make it cliche and just do my favorite genres, and it's basically just an excuse to do whatever I want, which is why it's really fun and probably why it stuck with me for so long. But what I'm going to be explaining about it today is the different settings, the different places, layout of the area. I'll probably be showing a map. Once I actually do the video, I will know if I will be showing a map. And at the end, I'll be talking more about the actual storyline and all of the different dimensions and where in the story all of the OCs come in. I'm probably going to do another video with, the deeper lore and also a different one with all of the characters, specifically the main cast. So this one is going to be probably a little bit of one of the more boring ones for the actual listeners. It's actually very fun for me to talk about, but I don't know exactly how many people are into this kind of thing. Yeah, but it might as well just be out there because I'm sure somebody is. I really need to talk about what I actually am going to get into in this video. I'm going to need to put up 12 different slime tutorial ASMR videos and Subway Surfer videos over my speed paints, which I really don't want to do. So DNN is what I call it. It stands for Dreams and Nightmares. It's a story focusing on not a household, not a city, not a country, but a dimension, or technically multiple dimensions, but we mainly just see one. That being said, the inhabited area of the dimension is still the size of a city, so I am a little bit of a liar. I'm about to talk about a bunch of, logistics. This is going to be a lot about the layout and stuff, and also about how the grades and the school works. Here are a bunch of time stamps to skip what you don't want to hear and listen to what you do want to hear. Okay, first I'm going to talk about sort of the map of the whole area. The whole city centers in a half-circle shape around a huge school. It's surrounded by a bunch of big walls. There are actually a lot of people who have houses and businesses in the walls, but those are sort of the rejects. We'll get to that. It's not a typical school to teach reading, writing, math, science, what all of us assume a school would be like, but it's rather to teach attendants about the different dimensions and types of people, as well as teaching them about themselves, their history and their cultures, their different unique abilities. As for the actual layout of the school, the center of the half circle, there is a White House-like building where the founder/principal/president lives, surrounded by government, court, research, and police buildings. Then there's a circular garden in front of it with a grand fountain, which is usually populated by children from the inner city school buildings, which surround the garden. Those students number about 2,000, some of which are diplomats from other dimensions. Beyond that are more school buildings for children of people that live in the middle ring, which is where all of the stores, restaurants, hospitals, etc. are for all the people that live in the middle and inner rings. It's also to employ people. Then the next part of the middle layer is the housing, where all of the people that run the stores and stuff live, obviously the adults. Or police bases and a few smaller school buildings for people who live in the wall and beyond the wall. These will be probably dotted throughout the housing at the very edge. So most of the outer part of the circle, not including the wall and outside of the wall, is just a bunch of housing, because with all the school buildings, they need to have a lot of housing in a certain area just because of how the rest of the land is occupied by other things. These students from the schools on the outer ring, the students who come from families that live in the wall or beyond the wall, which, by the way, choose to live there, or their families choose to live there, because there's very much space pretty much everywhere, just because they haven't quite, fully populated yet. These students are kind of discarded. They actually tend to be more of, traditional school buildings. They don't really get to talk a lot with diplomats and stuff, and they basically get to learn by books, not by example, which sort of takes the magic out of it. And yes, students still learn, basic skills, like language and math. They go to local schools from ages younger than they usually would, ages 3 to 7. They also live at home with their parents, as opposed to the people who go to the big main school. They have to live in apartments or dorms next to their school buildings, very much like a college or a boarding school. The main school goes from ages 7 to 16, 16 being considered an adult. These years are simply numbered instead of, freshman, senior, etc. So a 7 to 8-year-old would be in year 1, 8 to 9 would be 2, and so on. Once they graduate, they use their grades, experiences, and skills to earn the right to apprentice under someone with their chosen profession, instead of going to a graduate school or a college. And if they do good, which it's very rare for an apprentice to be rejected from their job, obviously they'll get hired there, and they'll be considered proficient in that skill. Now, like I said, the main point is to teach them about the other dimensions, the other types of people, the cultures, technology, magic. Yeah. But specifically in the inner circle, which is the focal point of the story for now, the main goal is to integrate people from other dimensions, to understand them and possibly gain something from them. That's why there are quite a few diplomat students that have come through the portals. Oh, the portals. Yeah, so government and authority figures have access to portals, which are heavily guarded and have restricted use to them because they are portals to other dimensions, and obviously pose a lot of risks by using them. But yes, these diplomat students are usually between the ages of 14 and 16, but very rare exceptions have been made to allow 18-year-old diplomat students to attend, along with the 8th year. I think they would be 8th year students, the 16-year-olds. I'm sure you want to hear about the different dimensions, and I'm sure that you'll want to hear about it because I will be presenting this information in a numbered list. I know y'all apparently love numbered lists. I don't know where this stereotype came from. The school is considered the 5th dimension because there were 4 others known before that dimension was founded. Or there were 4 other dimensions known by the people that founded it. There very well might be more, but they'd be numbered after 5 as they're discovered. So if there were any more, they would be 6, 7, 8, and so on. Get ready for the numbered list. Number 1. This is the human dimension. Our dimension mostly cut off from everyone else, especially from the school, because they go insane if they're in Dimension 5 for too long for lore reasons. Though sometimes types of supernatural races can be born to humans. If I ever end up doing the OC video to go along with this, I'll tell you about them. Number 2. The official, unofficial working title name for this dimension is the Apocalypse Dimension. One of the founders is from here, and most of the population have family roots here. This includes mainly vampires, also werewolves, undeads, not zombies. Zombies is canonically a slur in this universe. And skellies, which are recently extinct. This one is based off the older sort of classic literature surrounding, a lot of monsters. You know what I'm talking about. But obviously, like Frankenstein, Dracula, but there are quite a few different changes to the different types of people from this one. I actually completely skipped this one first go around. Now, my audio is probably messed up because my fan is blowing directly in my face. But, Dimension 3. I don't have a name for this one. If anybody has any suggestions, please help me. But, placeholder title, Superhero Dimension. It is exactly what it sounds like. There's only one race of people that come from this one, but they're very diverse and basically can be people with literally any power. Usually genetic power, though, passed down through generations. They're the second most common type of person in 5, right after vampires. So, despite them being the only ones from Dimension 3, they're still very widespread. Number 4. The Fantasy Dimension. Think Tolkien and high fantasy, maybe a little bit of RPG reference. There are wizards, which is dolls, which are like puppets or poppets. Doll makers, which are pretty close to basically just being witches. And mainly elves. They've only just made it so that they're able to dimension hop, so there are very few of them. But elves are on track to becoming a big part of the population. Especially since they seem to be the only ever race to be in Dimension 5 that can be half of something. So you can get a half elf, half vampire, or something else like that. Number 5. 5 is the school, of course. They do have a couple of races that are unique to the school, which are elementals and weapon users, but weapon users have also been known to be able to be born to people in Dimension 1, so I guess they're not entirely original, but they only started being discovered after Dimension 5 was founded. I go back and forth between calling them weapon users and weapon summoners. I can't really remember what their original name was. Last but definitely not least, where do the OCs come in? Well, there's definitely a lot of them because there is a multi-generational story going on. But as of right now, it's only really elaborated on 2 of the generations, and there's a 0 one, which is kind of like a -1. It's mostly the backstories of characters from 1 and, lore on their parents and stuff. But, yeah, you could probably guess that having multiple generations and this whole built-up world would make it so that there are a lot of characters and a lot of information to talk about. The first generation was based around the people that are born in the human realm for the most part. They get taken out of the human realm and and are sort of forced to live at the school in Dimension 5. Mostly elementals born to human parents, because they tend to be born to human parents a lot for some reason. I guess it's just a statistic. And the current generation, which is 2, is based mostly around one class, a lot of which are descent from people from the first generation. I think there will eventually be 4 or 5 generations. Don't know how long it will take for me to actually get to all of that, though. There is definitely a lot of the, like, very deep lore stuff, because there is lore surrounding how this dimension was made, basically, what will destroy it, what's the goal, which I think I am going to make a video around that, if more than, like, 10 people show interest in this. Something like that. It's just, I have to separate it, because a certain group of people cannot have that deep of lore, because it will be spoilers. You know who you are. Even if this doesn't do great, I will make an OC video. But definitely feel free to ask as many questions as you want. I think Q&A is probably one of my favorite things ever, so I highly encourage that. I will answer any question. Okay, wait. I will answer any question if I can. If I can. That, yes. And if I can't, for, like, spoiler reasons for some people, I will answer them in a different video. Alright, that has officially been your call to action. I'm not even asking you to, like or subscribe anything. Just please comment any questions. Please.